Okay, so welcome everyone to a Zoom class. Um, I want to go around real quick and just let everyone go around and share what you're hoping to get out of these Zoom classes. I know some of you replied to the survey that I sent earlier, but just for us to hear each other, let's go around and share what we think about these Zoom classes as we go into it. I'm just going to say an order of people so you know when your turn is coming up, and I'm just going to go in order of what I see on my screen. Frank, Herman, Dennis, Aini, Susie, Craig, and Lillian, and Ben. Benny. So go ahead and share what you think. Go ahead, Frank.
Are you serving donuts?
Is that a question about Zoom?
What are you looking forward to for these classes?
I'm looking forward to it because, yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I've been doing the PowerPoint for worship for a while, and this is new technology. So what the expression is, old dog learning new tricks. So I look forward to it.
Okay, for me, it's just my own edification, and if I learn it, and if I can always be like a backup or something like that for in the future.
Great.
For me, it's continuing education. and I was a graphic designer in the art department for Sunset Magazine for 44 years. And so we learned new technologies back in the early 90s. So I'm real curious about how I can jump from InDesign, if you know what that is, it's a page design, to Zoom, just to see, just out of curiosities, to see how you do your graphic design using visual elements to emphasize the service every Sunday. So I really appreciate your effort.
Yeah, that's
Thanks,
great.
Thomas.
Tiny, you're muted.
No, sorry. I think for me, similar to Uncle Herman, like I want to know so that like just in case, you know, like I can be a backup if anything.
You? Susie?
Yeah, I'm always curious and wondering what you're doing behind the scenes. And I want to learn new things. And I hope I can be of help in one way or other when needed by the church to present the online church service.
That's great.
And want to learn more new tricks.
Thank you.
Actually, I'm echoing. Oh, no, who's next? Was it Craig?
Craig, go ahead, and then Ben.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So for me, of course, I'm always on the borderline of learning technology. I try to combine all the different things I know to make services or whatever I do the best it can be. You know, combining Zoom can help me in what I do with music and see how that can combine together to create a better music experience too.
Great, great, great. Benny?
Gee, I'm echoing a lot of people. I'm echoing Herman, like he says, when he can help the church, be in the background, and then be a sub when something happens and they need help. And like Aini says, you know, follow Uncle Herman. And also, as Susie said, learn new ideas and also to help out the church when necessary. And for myself, bottom line is I'm part of the AV committee. And this seems like something that has a lot to do with AV. And I see it potentially being back at the sanctuary doing this someday.
Absolutely. Thanks everyone for sharing. I hear a lot of willingness to help serve in whatever capacity, and also excitement at learning new things about new technology. And that's so cool because the world is continually changing, even besides this year, but especially this year, there's a lot more new things that everyone is learning, whether they're in school or in work or in church. So this is all along those lines of learning new things as we continually want to help others around us. Cool, thanks for sharing. My hope for this is to, in the course of sharing and showing how Zoom works, at least for our church, you guys will gain those skills. It's not just how I do it specifically for church, but then you kind of understand more about Zoom, more about technology, more about PowerPoint, to be able to apply it to a lot more things in life and in your future also. Cool. So I am going to get into just showing a few basic, I'm going to start with a few basic things about Zoom program itself. There's going to be some things that's very obvious to you. There's going to be some things that some people have no idea about. But I just want to make sure we all have that same groundwork, that same foundation, so we're all on the same page. So I'm going to start with some of the important functions. One of the things is that comes up very often is muting yourself and unmuting yourself. So just in case you didn't know, on the bottom left corner is a little mute button. Go ahead and everyone try to mute yourself. Great, now stay muted. One of the things that I cannot do as the host of a Zoom meeting, I cannot cause you to unmute. So when you're trying to say something and then we see your mouth moving, we have to say out loud, please unmute. Or as a host, I have a little button that says ask you to unmute. So still the final unmuting falls upon you. So I'm gonna ask to unmute for everyone. It's gonna show up, see what it looks like. So note that you have to unmute yourself whenever you need to talk, and that's where the button is. But every time you need to talk, remember, did I mute myself? Did I unmute myself? That's one of the most common issues that comes up in church meetings, in any Zoom meeting. I also have a button that can mute everyone all at once. So I can cause the whole room to mute all at once without having to click on any individual person. I'm gonna show you my screen as best as I could. Let's see how well this works. All right, so you guys see yourself on my Zoom window, a little reversed. But over here, as I mouse over, say, Herman, I can press this little button in the top corner that says ask to unmute. Do you guys see this reverse English text, or is it like right side? But imagine it says ask to unmute, so I can press it and then a link comes up to Herman's thing. I can also, let's say for Frank, he's not muted right now. In the same corner of his window, I can press the mute button and cause him to mute. Over here, this doesn't show up automatically, but by default, you just see everyone. If I press this button down here, the participants, you guys have this button too. Go ahead and press it. And this little thing comes up on the side with a list of everyone.
You're always number 2.
And from here, there's still the same kind of functions to mute people, mute Craig. I can go to down here and I say mute all. Oops. There's another button that says mute everyone. Press mute everyone. Now everyone's mute, except myself. Oh, that's good. Next to everyone's names, as a host, I have asked to unmute and I have more. Actually, real quick, do you see these words backward? Yes or no?
No.
No, they're right side. Okay, good.
We
They look
should
backward to me, so
right side.
No.
that's good. Zoom will automatically flip it to be the right way sometimes. Cool. Next to everyone's names, I have a little button that says more. And then over here, there's a lot more options that I can do. I can make people co-hosts, et cetera, et cetera. So that's about muting. And the next thing I want to talk about is chatting, talking with each other, typing out things to each other. So at the bottom middle is a little chat box. You can press it, and then another box opens up. Let me bring it over to here. So this can chat with people. By default, at the bottom, it says with everyone. So you can type a message. I'm going to type a message. Everyone, and press enter. And now everyone should see a little pop-up in your corner. And if you click on your chat, on your own chat box, then you'll just have this window that just has a list of stuff that people are chatting. Now, when I press on this everyone button, there's a list of names. So I can say, I can chat directly or privately to Aini and send a little heart. Oh, you can't really see that. Oh, there it is, a little heart. And I sent it directly privately to Aini, and she says she got it. So this way you can talk to people on the side, ask them questions. You can ask the host specific questions like, hey, what's going on with this? Or hey, don't forget about this. Sometimes I have to privately chat whoever's leading the temp service. Don't forget about this. Ooh, we skipped this and we need to go back to that. So everyone, I want you to now try to chat, say something to everyone, and say something privately to me. So everyone go ahead and try to do that on your own. Now I'm going to show it. So go ahead and start typing things. Use the chat and say things to everyone, and say one thing privately to Thomas Lin. Good, good, good. Keep it up. Keep chatting.
How do you send it to you, Thomas?
Yeah, there's
After I
no,
write it.
there's no button that says press send. So you just press the enter button on your keyboard. Herman brings up a good point. If you're on your phone or on your iPad, some of this layout will be a little different, but it always is somewhere. It might just be at a different location, or you might have to tap on your screen to even show all these little buttons, but it's somewhere on your iPad or your phone. Great. Good job, everyone. So that is the chatting function in Zoom that's going to be really good to use to either share some news to everyone, ask a question, or say something directly to one person. Nice. Okay. All right, so that's the chatting function. Another one that's going to be really important for just general usage is how you see everyone's video on your screen. Okay, so a lot of times by default, let me turn this around again. A lot of times by default, you'll see everyone in a gallery view, okay? Now, sometimes I'm gonna go ahead and sometimes during church, I have this little function that says spotlight for everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and press it, and you kind of notice what happens to your screen. Spotlight for everyone. Now, whoever I spotlighted, Herman in this tent for being the example, shows up really big on your screen. And then along the top, you see 4 more videos of other people maybe. And you can scroll. On the top, there's a button to scroll. Oh, you can't really see me anymore. Maybe I should spotlight myself. Spotlight. Can I spotlight myself? Okay, now I'm spotlighting myself. So along the top, there's a little button so you can scroll and see more people along the top. Ooh, wow. Cool. So I'm gonna unspotlight myself. How do I unspotlight myself? Remove spot. Okay, now I'm not spotlighted. Now, who do you guys see? I think you said see Herman, right?
Where's the spotlight?
I don't see that
Right.
sidebar either.
It's
Good
only if
point.
you're the host.
You guys do not see that function unless you're the host or co-host.
Oh,
Yeah, this part, I'm not telling you to do it, but I'm just helping you understand what goes on behind the scenes and why sometimes your Zoom kind of jumps around and starts showing other people. I'm going to spotlight my screen
Can
again.
you show us on your?
Yeah.
Show us on your screen where it is.
Yeah. Okay. So this is hard to see. Let me go to participants. Let's say Ben. I'm going to go to Ben, more, and I can say spotlight. Because I'm already spotlight right now, I changed to add spotlight and replace spotlight, but normally it says spotlight this person. So what spotlighting does is everyone sees this person and it just shows up really big for that person. And that the situation I use that in is when Jake starts giving his message, I spotlight him so everyone sees him. Over on the top right corner of your screen, there's a little button that says view. Oops. There's a little button on the top right that says view, and it's set to speaker view. What happens if you change it to gallery view? Now you go back to seeing everyone. Even when I'm spotlighted or someone else is spotlighted, you can use this button, view, to go back and forth between looking at one big picture or a lot of small pictures. And this helps you be able to see everyone. Everyone go back to gallery view. And I'm going to remove spotlight on myself. And now you should see a whole bunch of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's say someone was speaking and you want to keep, or someone was showing something and then you want to spotlight them for yourself. If you're not the host, you cannot force everyone to see that person pop up, but at least for yourself, you can do what's called a pin, P-I-N. So I'm going to go ahead and let's say for Dennis, I'm going to go to the corner of Dennis's screen with a little 3 dots. That usually means more options in the technology terms. There's some things you may not see, but you will be able to see these options called pin, P-I-N. So go ahead and go over someone and say pin that person, any random person. So now when I press pin, it looks like a spotlight view. It actually, technically it's called speaker view, in which case one person's face is really big. So this is kind of like spotlighting, but only for your own screen. It affects no one else except your own screen. Go ahead and try to pin someone and then unpin them. I'm gonna pin Craig, and then over on the top left, I can remove the pin. Can I right click? Yeah, I can also right click and remove pin. And then it removes the pin. I can freely look at other people, or I can go back to gallery view. So that's how you can focus your camera on someone. I believe it might not work while someone's being spotlighted, but by default, you're able to do that. Herman, you have a question. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, I noticed on my iPad, I don't get that choice. I can't pin.
Maybe it is not available on the iPad. Maybe it is more difficult to get to. Maybe you have to tap someone's face and hold down your finger on it until an option shows up. I don't know, but maybe it's there, maybe it's actually not. Good point. That's important for me to understand. I don't use an iPad, but it's good for me to know what differences there are when someone uses an iPad or a phone.
Oh, okay. Now I can do it where I can just tap on the person, double tap, and then I get the big picture.
Perfect. Double tap. In a lot of phones and tablets, instead of using a left mouse click and right mouse click, sometimes it's a single tap, sometimes a double tap, sometimes you have to tap and hold it, and then other things show up, sometimes a double 2-finger tap. There's a lot of little kind of gestures that you should try. Benny.
Yeah, sometimes when I go to what do you call that view, gallery view, and then when I see everybody there, and then when I go to speaker view, it shows me the person that's talking, but the rest, the 4 people I see, sometimes it's at the top, sometimes it's on the right-hand side. How do you move it?
Good question. Let me show you my screen. You're right that happens. Zoom has a few different ways of showing your screen. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go back to speaker view. Let's do speaker view for, Craig's not here, so I'm gonna speaker view for it. I'm gonna pin to my first screen, so it's kind of like speaker view. And there's you see I have the 4 people along my top over here. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's somewhere else. I'm gonna go to view and press full screen. View and then full screen. Or in order to full screen, I can also just double tap on the thing in the, I'm gonna double tap. Now it's full screen. Now you have this strip of people along the side instead of along the top. So when you're in full screen mode, you see everyone along the right side of your screen by default. And this leads into another really good thing for you guys to understand. This strip of people, where is there 4 people? I can scroll down, I can scroll up, I can click the top gray area and I can move it around. I can move it around. Sometimes it's blocking some text or some picture I want to see behind. I can move this around. So go ahead and try to, I'm gonna go ahead and speaker, everyone try to pin someone to get to speaker. Actually, no, everyone just go to speaker view and then try to full screen yourself and then get this strip and try to move it around. Try it out. I'm gonna double click on the middle to get out of full screen. You can tell you're not in full screen because there's a little title bar at the top, Zoom meeting, that I can move this around. Go ahead and either view full screen, or you can just double click anywhere in the middle. View full screen, now you see everyone. I can still go back, while in full screen mode, I can go back to view and then go back to gallery view. And now I still see a gallery view for everyone. I don't have to have a strip of people along the top or along the side anymore. So I'm gonna go back to speaker view because a lot of times you're in speaker view. Okay, there's a strip along the right side of the screen. Now, if you notice, there's actually 3 little buttons up in the corner of this little strip also. And as you mouse over it, it shows exactly what they do. So the one by default is kind of like a little long strip. There's another one, show small active speaker video. Now it made it just one small thing and it only shows whoever is speaking or whoever is spotlighted. Or there's a third one, hide thumbnail video. And there's just completely no more video of people talking. I'm gonna press show thumbnail video again. So now it's this one again. So really good point, Ben. And that leads into this conversation about this one. Something to note for my PowerPoints, some people end up in full screen with this strip of people blocking the kind of sort of right side of their screen. Some people don't know how to move it to somewhere else or to just make it smaller. So for my PowerPoints, I actively make sure that there is no text along the right edge of my PowerPoints so that no text can be blocked over here. Okay? So there's a little bit on the behind the scenes for the PowerPoint. I'm gonna bring up one of my PowerPoints that we last used for service. Herman brings up a good point. On iPad, you can't really move that strip around. It stays on the bottom instead of the top. Okay, so I have my PowerPoint. This is what it looks like. If you haven't noticed, my PowerPoint, this is a music slide. There's the first slide of the music. There's a second, oops, this is the second slide of the music. And along the right side of the PowerPoint, I always make sure there is no text there because that's where this floating strip by default shows up. If people are in full screen view, and if it shows up as a strip, it by default blocks over this area. So I make sure there's no text along the right side of my PowerPoints. If people don't use full screen, then people will just show up on the top. This doesn't get blocked. If people know how to move that strip around, then they can move it wherever they want. But just by default, just for sake of everyone who might not know all these functions, I just leave this completely blank. Good point. So that's how to control a bit more of what you see on your screen. And that's going to be really helpful because sometimes I'm doing things that force a different view for you. Sometimes the default view doesn't work for you and you want to do something else and show everyone or only show one person. These are the ways you do it. You can full screen, you can gallery view, you can speaker view, you can pin people onto your own screen. Sometimes I, as a host, will spotlight someone, which basically forces everyone to go into speaker view and forces a pin onto, say, Jake's screen for everyone to watch. Let me unpin everything. Okay, so by
Tom,
default.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please do.
So, do you ever use the full gallery screen on Sunday services?
Good question. Do I ever use the full
How
gallery
many
view?
participants?
For me, because I'm kind of managing a bunch of things, I always have gallery view on. If it does something, if my Zoom does something that kicks me into speaker view and I only see one big picture of one person, I go to my corner and I change it back to gallery view every time. So I can watch everyone and everything that's going on. Also, I also always have participant lists on the side. I always have that on. So I can always watch what's going on. And I can always watch for people. Good question. Notice that in speaker view, if everyone's in speaker view, the person that shows up really big in the middle is whoever is talking at the moment. If there's no pin, if there's no spotlight, then whoever shows up is the person who's talking. Unless it's yourself. Yourself doesn't usually show up, but if someone else starts talking, then it'll show up as that other person. So let's say, for example, Aini, if you can unmute yourself and just say, hello.
Hello.
Now everyone suddenly should see Aini's face on your speaker view, unless you had pinning or something. I see Aini on mine. So that's why I sometimes keep switching back and forth between people. And that's why sometimes really funny when, not funny, but like, haha, like someone's like, oh, look at my, look at this really cool thing. And they show it, a picture, and then someone else, Aini, say, wow, that's so cute.
Wow, that's so cute.
And then everyone goes, wait, I can't see it because Aini was talking, but I'm trying to show it, but I'm not talking. So now that I'm talking, it goes back automatically to show me until someone else starts saying something. So notice that when someone's trying to show a picture and then it doesn't show the picture anymore, it's because someone else is talking. So you can say, whoever's showing the picture, keep talking about it so that their screen stays up. Or now that you're pros, you can go ahead and pin that person onto your screen, so force them to show up really big just on your screen and maybe not anyone else's.
So the person who's talking, what do they see while you're showing it?
Yeah. So let me show my screen. I'm talking. I see the last person who made a noise, in which case it was Susie who was sipping from her cup. I'm going to use Aini again. Aini, go ahead and say something.
Test.
Everyone sees Aini until I start talking. Now everyone sees me. I don't see me. I see the last person who's talking. I don't need to see myself, I guess. I am in the top corner of myself. I am always in this top left corner of this little strip along the top. And then I don't know how the rest of the 3 other people keep changing, but whoever's here is the last person who is talking besides myself, besides yourself. So you don't see yourself on the big thing, but then you see the last person who's talking. What other questions about controlling your own Zoom window and who you see?
I noticed that on the desktop, if you look at your strip, there's a little arrow on the right side.
That's right.
And if you click on that, that changes to another group of pictures.
That's right.
So if you want, you can do that too.
Yep. And that's exactly right. There's 4 people on here at once. I'm gonna press this little blue arrow button, and it just basically goes to the next 4 people.
Mhm.
One more thing one more thing to help you control what you can see. I'm gonna go ahead and show my screen again. Ooh. Okay. By the way, I have to do it this way to show what's on my screen, because whenever I start share screen on my Zoom, it kind of makes the Zoom window disappear and shows everything else except the Zoom window. So it's hard to show my own Zoom window using the typical share screen. But okay, so I'm in gallery view, and sometimes there's like a bajillion people in the room at church. And sometimes you can only see 25 people, and you have to keep scrolling. There'll be a button on the side to scroll to the next set of 25 to the next set of 25. On some laptops, based on your hardware or your computer, you can, instead of having a maximum of 5 by 5 people, you can have a maximum of 7 by 7, 7 rows and 7 columns. So you can have a maximum of 49 people. And that one is hidden a little bit into some of the settings. There's some settings in the Zoom window. One way that I like to go to the settings is in the bottom left corner where there's mute and video. I press the little up arrow next to one of them, and then a little menu pops up, and then I go to, let's say, video settings. It's the same whether I go to audio settings. It brings up a settings window. The settings window closer. Okay, it brings up this window full of various settings. If you press video settings, it'll go to video settings. If you go to audio settings, there's one called there's one called, there it is, in video settings. There's a lot of settings. If you scroll down all the way to the bottom, for some people, there is one that says display up to 49 participants per screen in gallery view. You may not have this option based on your hardware. You may have it. So if you do have this option, go ahead and check this box. And now that allows you to see a lot more people in gallery view at one time. So similarly, while we're over here, there's a lot of other options. You can check out make sure your speaker is working, your microphone's working. This one's a really good, this part is something I learned as a result of using this. Press and hold space to temporarily unmute yourself. This is really handy. I'm gonna check this. I think by default this is checked, so that sometimes I'm muted and then I just hold down my space bar and I can talk and unmute myself, and I'm gonna let go of my space bar now. And that made me muted. So I just press the space bar and unpress the space bar.
Thomas, can you review that one more time, please?
Yeah, when you're muted, you can press the space bar to unmute yourself while you're holding down the space bar. Mm-hmm. And then when you let go of the space bar, you're back to being muted.
Mm-hmm. And then can you repeat from where you press the arrow beside the mute button?
Audio.
Yes, I started talking before I pressed my space bar.
Yeah. 'Cause I
So
saw the
over on the
podcast.
bottom left by your mute button is a little up arrow. Go ahead and press that little up arrow. I'm gonna press it now.
Mhm.
It's right over here.
Mhm.
Not the mute button. Right next to the mute button is a little up arrow. And then the first thing there is audio settings.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that brings up a bigger screen full of settings. Oops. Sorry. And from here, you can scroll down and then notice a lot more, notice some more things.
Mm.
And there's a lot more options on the left side about all this stuff going on.
Mm.
But those are, I just want to go through some of the basic ones. There's a lot of options in there that are not really necessary for normal uses, but just want to go over how to show more people in gallery view at one time.
Mhm.
Question, Benny.
Yeah, I understand the one about temporary mute because I'm holding my space bar now. But I noticed that when you showed on the screen there, some of the things that are available to you, it's not on mine because
That's
I
right.
looked for it. So I guess it's the limitation of my laptop that's causing
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. My laptop used to not be able to show 49 people at once, only limited to 25 people, which is the default for everyone. And then as Zoom kept updating their software, then they allowed my hardware to do that. But it's based on usually it's based on your laptop, and sometimes based on when Zoom updates it to allow for more hardware, more types of laptops to have that ability. Herman mentions that the iPad does not have as many controls that we just talked about. And that makes sense. There's a lot more simplicity in phones and tablets. So that's good to know. Thanks for pointing that out.
Oh, Thomas, I have a question.
Please.
I got a message notice to upgrade my Zoom. So that's all can be done without extra charge. Is that right?
Correct. When there's going to be sometimes a little pop-up that says, please update your Zoom. Go ahead and update it. There's no charge. It just downloads it, and then maybe it'll be a pop-up to say like, are you sure you want to install this new version? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Try to keep it updated. Every once in a while, there's like a security update, or it just enables more features and just makes it smoother as they keep updating it. So go ahead and update it when it pops up. Maybe not in the middle of a church service in case it kind of kicks you off the Zoom, but you can just do it in your free time.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So it is 10:50 right now, and that's where that's the material that I have planned for today. I want to continue the rest of the 10 minutes for what other questions you have, whether it's about the things we specifically talked about today, or just about more general questions of things that you always thought about anything for Zoom or other things for church. Dennis, I saw you had your hand up at first.
I wanted to know, I understand when I went down to mute and had the settings come up, there's a way of getting a background image that you can choose. Can you walk me through how to choose a background image
Yes.
like Herman has?
Yeah, that's a really good point, and it's going to be really helpful. So these are called, so sometimes like Herman, you don't see the back of his room, you see a picture that he put up. So here's how you do it yourself. You can go to video, stop video, but instead of pressing stop video, you press a little button arrow next to it, and you go to choose virtual background. One of them says choose virtual background. And then another window pops up. It's the same window as your video settings, your audio settings. There's one called background and filters. Okay, backgrounds and filters. So on the bottom, you see virtual backgrounds, and by default, it says none. But maybe you have another picture that says San Francisco. I'm gonna go ahead and press San Francisco. And now you see my picture. I'm gonna press OK. Now my picture, you see San Francisco, the Bay Bridge. And when I turn it back around, you see me. With my virtual background, I'm over at the Golden Gate Bridge. So try that yourself. Go to video, press the little button next to video and go to virtual background. And then choose one of the, instead of the default option, which says none, choose one of the images over there.
I don't have any images there.
Oh, that's okay. That's where it would be.
How do I put in insert images myself?
You can insert your own image yourself. So I need to turn off my virtual background. Okay. So it comes with some. You can also either download some more pictures from online, or maybe you have a picture of your own that you want to use. So over, let me try to make this. Okay. Here's the virtual backgrounds. Over in this corner, there's a little plus button, add image or video. It can add an image of your own. And you just search for an image file on your computer. You can also look online and then just download any image from online and then it's on your computer. And then from here, you add that image from your computer.
Okay.
Yep. Sometimes you'll see Dick Hom, he has like a little rotating donut. I'm guessing he uses add video. So maybe he has a little looping short video of just spinning donuts or falling donuts or something on Sundays. Let's do that too. Okay, good. Good question. I think, Benny, you had a question, right?
Yes, I did. I looked up Zoom last night, or zoom.com, to see what's out there and stuff like that. They have a free one, just like some of the people I know have them, but it's good for an hour. But I noticed that the one that they have up there now, it's only good for 40 minutes. So since the last update, they cut it down to only 40 minutes for free.
Good question. So is there a time limit for Zoom that kept shortening? For the past maybe year or so, when you have a Zoom meeting with just one-on-one, just two people, you can be in this video call for as long as you want. When you have a third person, so now you have a group of people, by default, your free Zoom meeting will last a maximum of 40 minutes. And then it'll kind of start telling you, oh, by the way, there's 5 minutes left in your free Zoom call. Usually what happens, at least for like sometimes our Friday night fellowships, we just say, okay, we're gonna go ahead and all leave the Zoom and then go ahead and click on the same link again. And then that just recreates the same room for another 40 minutes. Rarely, sometimes as it gets closer to the end of 40 minutes, there'll be a message that pops up that says, by the way, we upgraded your current Zoom meeting so that you can just go on past 40 minutes. Maybe they automatically do that when there's like a lot less stress on their internet servers. But yeah, that's the limitation of a free Zoom. Good question.
So, yeah, Thomas.
Yes.
How can one become a host?
Good point. How can one become a host of a meeting?
I want to start a Zoom meeting with someone.
Yes. Great.
Yeah.
Good question. Okay. How do you start a meeting with someone?
Done next week.
Really good point. So there's two questions. One is how do you become a host, but then the thing behind that is how do you start the meeting yourself? If you start the meeting, you're by default the host. Okay, so when you open up the Zoom program or you go onto the website, onto your Zoom account, there's a button that says a new meeting.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and press this new meeting, and then you'll create a Zoom room, a Zoom meeting. By default, you're the host. It'll look exactly like this Zoom meeting, but just without everyone's picture, no picture in the middle. But then like, okay, how do I get a link to send to people so they can join my meeting?
Yes.
There's a few different ways to do it. first I would bring up the participants, the list of people on the side, and then over onto the list of participants down at the bottom. Let me try to make this better. Down at the bottom, oops. Let me resize this so it's easier. Okay, down at the bottom, there's a little button that says invite. So everyone, you can go ahead and try press invite, and then this pops up. You can type in people's email. No, I don't like to do that. On the bottom left corner, it says copy invite link. It says copy link has been copied to clipboard. Invite link has been copied to clipboard. And then now it's on your computer clipboard. So I can go ahead and, oops, I can go ahead and paste. Where is it? There it is. Here it is. I can go ahead and paste here. I can go to an email and I can paste there. I can right click and press paste, or I can press Control V on my keyboard. So there's that link. And now when anyone presses that link, it goes to this room. So that's how you create a Zoom room and let other people join by sharing that link. And because it's your own Zoom room, you are by default the host. Now, it's a little bit deeper about hosting.
Does
Go ahead.
I have a question, Thomas.
Yeah.
Does
Let me share a little bit more
host-
about hosting first. Sorry. So as a host, I have a lot of controls over a lot of things, over a lot of people. I can, for some rooms, what I do is I also make people co-host. So I'm gonna go to INE, I'm gonna press more, I'm gonna say make co-host. Make INE the co-host, yes. So now she is the co-host and she has very similar privileges and abilities as I do. Or I can just completely relinquish my hosting ability and I can say, make INE the host. So she has even more ability and then she has to make me the co-host again. So that's how I can transfer or add people to have those abilities to mute people, unmute people, spotlight, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how to make more people hosts. I don't know if that's how possible that is in the free version. I think it's possible in the free version, but definitely in the paid version, that's very important to be able to do and to do constantly. You had another question, Susie?
Yes. Does our church have to pay for Zoom service? We have so many participants. Do they charge us?
Church covers the cost of one paid Zoom account that Jake uses or the church uses. And it's like $50 a year, $150 a year. So it's just a one-time payment for 1 year of these additional privileges. And even above that, there's another higher tier. Let's say you have more than for the first tier, the cheapest paid version, you can have a room up to 100 people. The 101st person cannot join. But you can pay an additional amount, then you kind of upgrade your Zoom account up to 300 people. You can upgrade it and have be able to have panelists and attendees and other kind of more advanced options and capabilities as you upgrade and pay more per year on a yearly subscription basis.
And so that subscription will give you numerous times of use of Zoom then.
It is
You can
unlimited
use it
uses
several-
of Zoom for the year. Or it gives you these additional abilities for all your Zoom meetings that you create per year. You can create a Zoom meeting whether you're free or paid anytime, but then these additional privileges, they last for a year under the paid subscription. And for a lot of people,
And
their
may I
company
ask how many?
buys it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and may I ask, do you know how many people, participants, they will start charging? If I have only one participant, do they charge?
Good question. If you're using a
They
free Zoom and you have one friend join, it's free. If you have two friends join, it's free. If you have a lot of friends that join, I don't know the upper limit for a free room, it's still free. but it's under a 40-minute time limit.
Mm.
So you can have many people in your free Zoom room for up to 40 minutes. Ben.
Thank you. It's
Good
all
question.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Using Zoom.
Benny? Go ahead, Benny, and unmute yourself.
Yeah, I just pressed the temporaries button and it didn't work. So I had to bring it down to unmute myself. I checked on to getting Zoom free also. You can have up to 100 participants for free Zoom, but it's only good for 40 minutes, as Thomas has said. If you want the same 100 and you have as long as you want, that's right now it's going for 20% off of, so it's about $129 a year. So you can have all the participants, I mean, up to 100 participants. Free. Well, they're free, but you've already paid the $129 for a year use. And it's unlimited time for your particular year's time, whenever you start. Because I checked into it, so it's not too bad. I mean, if you got $130 to spend, you know, it's not that bad.
With everyone I know.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you can have Zoom parties all day long, the middle of the night, anything you want for a whole year, and you are automatically the host. And as Thomas says, you can have co-hosts, you can make them the host and all that kind of stuff. So all this stuff makes sense. So look into zoom.com if you want to find out how much it costs and stuff like that. That's what I did last night. So I would have a sort of like a pre-understanding of what Thomas is going to teach, I thought, by looking up zoom.com.
I guess I should buy some stocks on Zoom.
Oh, Zoom stock shot up as of March of this year.
Exactly.
I mean, really shot up.
Frank, you had a question. We'll go Frank, and then Kathy, and then Craig, and then Dennis. Frank, you had a question.
Excuse me.
Frank, you are muted. I think you actually pressed the button twice. So you unmuted and then remuted yourself. There you go. You're unmuted there.
When you want to put that video that's behind you as a background, the thing is that in the current background, do you need to have a more plain one, or can it be normal?
Good point. When you're using that virtual background, it's using software to try to tell where a human is and where a human is not. So you see, sometimes it doesn't get it perfectly. Oh, wow, I'm a floating head now. So sometimes for some people, where the background is the very similar color as your skin, maybe it starts disappearing your face, or it starts showing the real background. So it's trying to do some software stuff. So try to understand how a computer camera would be able to tell what's a person and what's a background. Maybe it's just by the different color. Maybe it's a huge contrast. Maybe it's looking for like a circular kind of thing. And yeah, so be mindful. If things start disappearing, you know, try to move your laptop, maybe have a different background or something to be able to more consistently show yourself as a really good outline.
Okay.
Some people, they put a green screen behind them, and that helps the Zoom software be able to tell where a human ends and a bright green background begins to make it more clear.
Okay, does that answer the
Question.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Kathy, you had a question. Welcome, Kathy and Laura.
Yeah, my question, sorry I came in late. My question is, I have a paid account and I am using a private phone number. So I'm not using what Zoom assigns when you schedule a meeting. And my question is, can I schedule more than one Zoom meeting? I mean, obviously not running at the same time. Like I'll schedule one for Wednesday and I'll schedule another one for Friday. I have found that the people that have logged into the meetings have complications. Do you know anything about scheduling multiple Zoom meetings?
Good question. This gets a little bit more advanced. You can schedule multiple meetings so that they start or the room forms automatically. It doesn't have to be you have to press start meeting and then send out an invite. People can just already have the pre-made link. You can schedule multiple meetings throughout the week and only one is active at a time. You're right on there. The part where it gets that might happen for you when you schedule a meeting or create a meeting, there's like a long string of numbers, zoom.us/12345. There are options to make it so all of your scheduled meetings use the exact same code for that link, 12345, 12345. Or there's other options where each scheduled meeting, each new meeting uses a different link. Maybe your first meeting will be 12345 and your second meeting will be 23456. So there's a setting to make sure that it's always your personal Zoom ID that gets used in the link so that it's the same link every time. Alternatively, additionally to that, if you have different passwords for the different scheduled meetings, the link might be a little bit different for each one. So the same link won't work on both of them if they're the two different passwords. I hope that helps answer
Where
it.
is that setting? Yeah, no, I'll go to that setting. What area is that setting I would find?
Yes, really good question. And really briefly, really quick, you guys see my, you guys see when you open up Zoom, here's this big window, and there's a big orange one that says new meeting. There's a little arrow next to new meeting. You can press that, drop it down. And then you see how there's a little option that says use my personal meeting ID. Check and uncheck. So this personal meeting ID means it's always going to be the same number in the same kind of code in the link that you send out to invite people. And when you start scheduling meetings, you can also have this same option. Look for this personal meeting ID so that's always the same number instead of a different random string of numbers each time.
Okay.
So that's what you would,
Thanks.
that's the kind of wording you would look for when you're creating meetings. Personal meeting ID, so that's always the same link. Great.
Thank you.
Good stuff. You're really, that's some really advanced stuff, so good job. Craig.
So when Susie was asking those questions, I'm not sure whether you even said that you actually have to create an account to be able to even do any of this stuff, even the free version.
That's a really good point that I definitely overlooked because I have just been logged on all the time. You can join Zoom meetings without creating an account, without putting in your email or anything. You just kind of type in what's my name and then you just join under that person. But in order to create Zoom rooms, meeting rooms and everything, you must create a Zoom account. Good point. You can create that when you open up the application. There's a little thing that says sign up for it, or when you go on the website, sign up for a Zoom account and put in an email and a password and everything. Good point. You cannot create a Zoom meeting if you don't have an account. Dennis, you had a question.
Yes, obviously the Zoom doesn't allow you to put visual material on unless you use PowerPoint. Is that right? All the graphics that you use for the church services and also the audio, that all is done through PowerPoint?
Good question. Is PowerPoint the only way to present material in Zoom? The answer is no. Let me explain. What Zoom can do is show anything on my laptop screen or my monitor screen, whatever program it is, it can show it. Zoom can also show the sound that my laptop is trying to play, no matter where that sound is coming from within my laptop.
Okay.
So I have PowerPoint, so I can display a PowerPoint presentation. I can also display just a photo of anything using a photo application. I can share sound from a media player of just the music that like Craig and JJ do in preparation for Sunday. I can share however I play that sound on my laptop, it can be transferred through Zoom. If I do YouTube, it can transfer the image, the video, the sound of the YouTube video of whatever's going on. Maybe it's a music video. It can transfer all of that. Or it can just transfer just one or two. I can transfer just the image, but not the sound. I have to transfer the image if I want to also transfer sound, I think. Yeah, so it's not specific to any one program or any one website. It shows anything on your screen, and it can play any sound from your device, wherever it comes from. It does not have to be PowerPoint.
Okay.
So I will go ahead and just show a really quick peek of, let's say, I'm gonna share my screen. You guys see a blank screen. I'm gonna bring in here a little picture. So now you see this is a picture application of what I sent you guys before. I can have a media player just play some sound. You guys don't hear the sound unless I start sharing sound. Now you guys should hear the sound. That was a music from before. Any program and any sound I can send through Zoom and share with everyone. I'm gonna stop screen sharing now. Yeah, good point. I want to dive real deep into screen sharing next week. Great.
So just for basic for the screen sharing, so you can anyone screen share? You don't have to be a host, or do you have to be the host?
Can anyone screen share? By default, no. Only the host and the co-host has screen sharing privileges. As the host, I can change a setting that then can allow anyone to screen share. By default, I don't use that setting because people might accidentally press the little green button on the bottom of their screen. But sometimes I might use that for gatherings where like, okay, I don't want to have to, I need everyone to sometimes be able to share their screen, their information, present their data and logistics at our annual meeting for our job, and I don't want to make everyone a co-host. I'm just going to change that setting to allow any participant to screen share. That is a possible setting to go to find.
So is it default? Because I see the green button now. Is that default on or default off? Or
by default, it shows that button, but if you try to press it, they'll say you're not allowed to. Go ahead and try to press it, and it says you're not allowed to. I think if I set it up correctly.
And then a follow-up to the screen share, of course, every week, because I'm going to try to do this with Katie's next week. The audio and the PowerPoint or whatever you use, you're showing the PowerPoint, but you're not showing the audio program. So is that somehow hidden when you're showing the PowerPoint?
That's right. Good point. So when I screen share, I'm showing my laptop screen where the PowerPoint is full screen. For me, I play the music using my music program on my monitor. So my PowerPoint is here. What was that?
So then if I'm only one person, you're doing it on two devices then?
Right, that's right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm using it on two screens, and that makes it easier to do. But if I was only using one laptop, there's a few ways to do it. You can just share your laptop screen and just for a split second, start the music and then bring that to the background so that your PowerPoint or your big image can be in the foreground just for a split second so you can control it. Another way to do it when you share screen, instead of sharing the entire laptop screen, you can share You can choose only one program, say PowerPoint. Share only the PowerPoint program. So all they see is the PowerPoint program. Even if you have stuff that's in front of the PowerPoint, they don't see the music player on front of the PowerPoint. They just always see the PowerPoint.
But how will the music still be shared then if you're not sharing it, or you're just playing it and it's all going to automatically come through?
When you share screen, so how does the audio go through? When you share screen, by default, it just shows the stuff. It doesn't send any sound through. There's an additional option when you share screen that says share computer sound. Make sure that one is checked, and whatever sound from whatever it's coming from will start sending through along with your screen.
Oh, Thomas, can you show us next week?
I will definitely show you next week, and because Craig needs to know this by tomorrow, I'm gonna press share screen.
Do it on one screen.
Share screen. No, I'm gonna press share screen, and then this whole thing comes up. I can choose screen 1, my laptop screen. I can choose screen 2, my monitor. I can choose a specific program. This one is my photos program. This one is my audio program. I'm gonna press my photos program. Now you guys all see my photos program. I don't even know where it is, but I'm gonna bring up my audio and actually no, I need to. Ooh. Stop share. Okay, share screen and bring this over. While you're choosing it, you on the bottom corner, can I see it? On the bottom corner, there it is. Barely. On the bottom corner, you'll see something that says share computer sound. And that's the one you want to check so that your audio gets through. If you're sharing a video, by default, Zoom just shows a really slow. It's slow. If you're sharing a video, make sure you also choose the. I'm trying to show it really quick. If you're showing a video, make sure you also check the other box that says optimize screen sharing for video clip. That's helpful. But if you're not showing a video, leave it unchecked. If you're just showing images like PowerPoints, don't check it. But make sure you check share sound, computer sound. And even after you start sharing screen, you can still enable and disable this one after you share screen. Yep, good question. Hope that helps for your immediate needs, Craig.
Thank you.
Yep. Lillian actually taught me some of these tricks. So when in doubt, have her nearby to do this stuff.
Have who nearby?
Lillian. Lillian knows a lot about Zoom and technology.
Yeah.
Great.
Thomas.
Who's Lydian?
It's 11 to almost 11:20 now.
It is. So thank everyone. Thank you guys for all being a part of this.
Thank you.
Okay.
If you have more questions through the week, email them directly to me. Yeah, and then it'll be the same time, same place tomorrow, same link to next Saturday. I'll send out another reminder email, but yep, I will see you guys next Saturday. Come with your questions, send them through the week. Come with them next Saturday. Great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Thomas.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Thomas.
Thomas.
Have a
Thanks,
good
Thomas.
Saturday.
Here.
Bye, everyone.
Take care. See you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.